Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
Hello, beautiful humans. I am Tosin, your host for I Love My HBCU ? The podcast. And I have those who are watching on screen. I love. And I'm dark skinned as well. So I say this with a lot of pride. I love it when a dark skinned sister pops the color. Do you see the pink that Meladee Carter has on? Meladee Carter, say hello to our audience, please.
Hello, I'm glad to be here. Hi, everybody.
And Meladee, so listen. So we by the way, for those who don't know, those at Oakwood University, of course, you know exactly who Meladee Carter is. But for those who don't know, Meladee is just going to be our second student from Oakwood University that we get to speak to. And I love it. I'm always excited when I have students on the podcast who are from smaller schools, and by when I say small, I only mean in numbers. I do not mean in might, and I definitely do not mean in reach, because listen, I know and knew of Oakwood even before I met you, Meladee, or before I met Matthew, who was the first person that we got to record. So Meladee, you are the incoming, I hope by the time this actually airs, it's still incoming. But you are the incoming Miss Oakwood University, right?
Yes, I am. I will serve as Miss Oakwood University for the academic year 2024-2025.
And you, even though she sounds as if she could have been raised somewhere in Alabama or somewhere in North Carolina, you also hear a svelteness to her voice. You are from Barbados, yes?
I am.
You
I was
are.
born and raised there.
How does a lovely young lady like yourself, all the way from Barbados, end up specifically at Oakwood University?
That is a great question. And I also want to say thank you all for setting up this platform to amplify Black voices and for having me here to just talk about my love for Oakwood University. And I think I can say that I've loved Oakwood for my entire life. It wasn't always Oakwood University, it was Oakwood College when I was younger. But I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, so Oakwood was always part of the conversation. The music there was always something that was attractive to me and my family. I was talking to Tosin earlier. My family is a very musical family. We love music. My parents named me Meladee, for crying out loud. So they loved music and loved the experience that Breath of Life, the production that comes from Oakwood University Church and then Oakwood College Church. It was just such a warm musical space. And of course, Oakwood University is renowned for the aliens. And so I knew all of these like associations before coming to Oakwood. So growing up, I've always heard of it. And so then when it came time for me to apply to schools, I applied to a school at home, I applied to a school in Canada, and I applied to Oakwood. But I got accepted to Oakwood, and I was like, I'm not staying here. I'm not going to Canada. I'm going to Oakwood. So I was very, 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 very grateful for the opportunity to come here, to come to the United States. Obviously, I came here in August of 2021. My first experience in the United States, my first experience away from my family for such a long time. But I knew that Oakwood was where God wanted me to be. And because I also sing as well, I knew that I could shine a light for Jesus there as well as grow in my talent and grow spiritually, grow professionally even.
I've never done this, Meladee. You just told us that you're a singer. Can I put you on the spot? I can?
I mean, we can see.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell you what to sing. How about, let's do this again. Sorry, I'm not going to tell you what to sing. How about you pick something. You give us a sound that is going to introduce us to the beauty of the voice that is Meladee. and to why your parents
Okay.
literally manifested your name. Let's hear it.
um, okay. I was not expecting to sing, but there is a song that was in my spirit for a little while, and I feel like it speaks to where God has me in this season of my life, where I am looking to Him to fill me up and to have Him use me for His glory. Um, oh dear, fill my cup, Lord. I lift it up, Lord. Come and quench this thirsting of my soul. Bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. Fill my cup, fill it up, and make me whole.
Wow. Wow. I'm actually really happy that I asked you to do that. That was wow. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank
That was
you.
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for letting me put you on the spot, and thank you for indulging me and actually giving us a sound. Fill my cup. I love it. Wow. Wow. Wow, you have a beautiful voice. You get told that a lot though, don't you?
Yeah, I do hear it a lot, yes.
She was trying to be, demure about it initially. And then she's like, "No, but I listen, you do hear it a lot because you do have a beautiful voice." But here's the thing. Sure, Oakwood is known for its stellar music, and I think more and more of us are finding that out. We did not know that as much before. You're not a music major. You
I
are
am
a
not.
business major.
I
Um
am.
Tell us what you want to. I mean, gosh, somebody like that, somebody like you, I need to see you on America's Got Talent or something. I don't think you're
Oh.
going to do it, but it would be nice. um what do you want to do? What do you aspire and dream to do with your business major?
That is hilarious. I've been trying to figure that out. I have been on a quest to go where I love to be. And so that's what led me to marketing. That's what led me to business. I think I've always been good at it because science was never my thing. I feel like when I was younger, I wanted to do science, but after I got actually into it and began to recognize that, yes, I can study it, but it's not for me, I pulled myself away from that. And then I started to focus a little bit more on business. And I started with an aim to do accounting. Don't love it. I love that it's for some, but it's not for me. So then I went to a career fair at home in Barbados, and I was talking with the marketing firm. I spent a large part of the career fair with them, just talking to them about what they do and like all the stuff that they create for the digital campaigns that they have for the company and all that stuff. And I was very intrigued, and I was like, I could do this. I studied it a little bit. I guess you all would call that the yes, the equivalent would be grade 11,
Okay,
but I
okay.
started to study a little bit of it at that stage. And so I was like, I could do this for a career. I'd say I'd love to get into digital marketing,
Hmm.
content creation a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of where I am at the minute. I'm trying to let God speak to me. Like I said, I'm waiting for Him to fill me up because I know that He has called me to each stage of where I
Hmm.
am now. And so I'm waiting for His word on where I am to go next.
Melody, number one, thank you. Number two, please make sure you never let anybody, don't care who they are, take you off track of that way of thinking.
Hmm.
And the reason why I'm saying that is I'm in academia, and I hear the debate, if you will, between those who say do what you love,
Hmm.
and then others who say do what you're good at, and then others
Mhm.
who say, find purpose in what you're doing. I always write down some gems that people say, and what you literally just said, I am on a quest. You're very specific with your words, and I love it. I'm on a quest to go where I love. When I asked you the question about why business administration, you took a deep breath and you said, I'm on a quest to go where I love. I hope you never get shifted off of that pathway to continue being led by exactly what it is that you love. Because something tells me that if that's what guides you, it's not just going to be about what you do, it's also going to be about filling your soul along the way. So don't let anybody discourage you, because some people are going to say, listen, you're not always going to be passionate about what you do. You're not always going to love what you do. I think what they should be telling everybody is you're not going to be passionate about every aspect of what you do, and you're not going to love every aspect of it. But shouldn't we love what we do generally? Otherwise, why are we there? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so she's giving gems, and something tells me you've got more gems to give. But before we get even deeper into our conversation, I'm going to bless you with the rapid fire segment. Now,
Okay.
you gave us a little bit of a history lesson with Oakwood University, so I'm going to throw
Oh
a
my
little bit.
goodness. All right.
I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to throw a little bit of a history quiz, just one question. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
throw a little bit of a history quiz at you.
Mm-hmm.
So the rapid fire is 67 seconds on the clock
Okay.
instead of 60 seconds on the clock. And remember, I just said I'm throwing a history quiz at you. Why do you think it is 67 seconds instead of 60 seconds on the clock?
I would love to give you a philosophical response, but I really do not know. I'm sure when you say it, it's going to be so obvious, but I do not know. It's
Take
blanking
the
me
I'll
right now.
take the I do not know. I'll take the I do not know, because as you were able to give us a little bit of a history lesson, I keep doing this because I want as many people to know that in 1867, I
Mm-hmm.
believe the number is 10. If I'm not mistaken, the number is 10 HBCUs were founded in that exact same
Okay.
year. So in we pay homage. I love my HBCU question mark pays homage to that year, that many schools were founded, that serve, that their purpose is to be a voice for Black and brown students in the United States of America. So that's why. Okay, Tosin,
Okay.
stop with the history lesson. Okay,
No,
are
please
you
do.
ready for your
Please
rapid
do.
fire?
Yes, I am.
Are you lovely? Okay, Meladee, describe yourself in 3 words.
Tenacious, ambitious, love.
Love, tenacious, ambitious, love. She didn't say loving, she said love. I love it. All right, you're graduating next year. Fingers crossed. You are at your college graduation. Who do you want as your commencement speaker?
Oh, oh my goodness. Okay. In an ideal world, I saw Viola Davis.
Why did I know you were going to say that? Why did I wish I could have told somebody she's going to say Viola Davis. I knew you were going to say Viola Davis. Okay. What's your best meal at your HBCU?
Best meal. I would say haystacks. Haystacks on Fridays, on Friday afternoons for dinner. That's like I feel like that's a 7 Adventist meal on a Friday or on a Saturday. So that's
Okay.
I feel like that would be the best.
Okay. Meladee, what's your and
Mhm.
you have to give one. What's your unpopular opinion about HBCUs? We know you love Oakwood, but what
Yeah.
is your unpopular opinion about HBCUs?
Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Unpopular opinion. Oh my goodness.
I think she's
I feel like
editing.
the
She's
opinions I have are
editing.
popular. Okay, okay, let's say the worst phenomenon that happens at HBCUs is the level of underestimation. I'd say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that's my unpopular opinion. I think that we sometimes put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but I think we often underestimate ourselves.
Got it. Got it. All right. They told me that my time's up, but I
Oh dear.
always do this. And anyone who watches knows Tosin is going to ask one or two more questions for the fun
Okay,
of it.
that's fine.
Um, shout out your favorite professor and what do they teach?
Oh, well, my favorite professor would have to be Miss Gloria Brooks. She taught me in my freshman year. She taught me freshman seminar. All freshmen have to take that. But she is like I feel like I call her my mother at school. Like she's still very present with me, even though I'm in my junior year, about to enter my senior year. She's always like encouraging. She's like beyond freshman seminar, beyond teaching us. Okay, these are the rudiments of Oakwood. These are how you can access this thing or whatever. She checks in all the time, checks in on me all the time, and I see her all the. I talked to her literally last week even though I'm on vacation. So I'd say she is my favorite professor. She's some person that inspires me because even she's older, but she still is pursuing her career. Like she is pursuing digital marketing. Like she took a marketing that was her BBA, but she's like exploring digital marketing now that I guess marketing has a bit developed. And so
Mm,
she's someone who inspires me for sure. Yeah, she'll be my
I
favorite
love it.
professor.
I love it. So this isn't rapid fire. So you don't need to time yourself on the last question that I'm about to ask you, and you can take your time with it.
Okay.
You are going to be one of the lucky few, and I say lucky few, not that presidents don't want to spend time with their students. It's just one of them and many of the students. But you happen to be Miss Oakwood University for the 2024-2025 academic year. So you'll have access to your president. What one thing are you going to share with your president that you've been thinking about but haven't shared it yet?
Okay. Um, I'd say sometimes student morale is down, and sometimes even employing faculty morale is down. And it is not his fault
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
directly, but I am sure that in some instances, students and employees don't necessarily feel an environment where they feel thrilled to be at work, thrilled to be at school. And I think part of that could be that they don't feel heard or seen or
hmm,
valued. And
hmm,
I would probably suggest that that is something that is a little deep, considered a little deeper so that employees feel like motivated to come to work and then we can have a lot more productivity in the workplace and have a lot more happening. I think we underestimate the power of listening, the power of active listening, the power of empathy and intentionality. I feel like we underestimate how important that can be for somebody else. I think if you lend somebody your ear and you let them know that because you are listening, you are planning to do something with what you've heard to make their lives just a little bit better, I think that can go a long way. Yeah.
That's powerful. I'm always grateful for the students that don't cop out on the answer.
Mm.
Many students, I think they're so concerned about who's going to hear this and how it's going to be heard. And I'm not saying don't, be cognizant of your image and how you come off. All of us do that. But some do it so much so that it is very clear that the response they're giving isn't their true answer. And
Mm.
so I appreciate you for giving a what, at least the way I hear it, is a really true answer. And when your president does get to have that audience with you, I really do hope that he hears you. Um,
I hope so too.
the the environment that we are in right now with HBCUs, I don't believe any administration can afford not to listen to its faculty and its staff. It doesn't, and its students, faculty, staff, and students. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything that is shared is going to be acted upon. But people do deserve to be heard, and people do deserve to know that even if all of the things that I'm requesting and that I'm going after won't necessarily be enacted, someone heard me, somebody cared enough. And so I now can keep giving my 100%. So
Yeah.
I'm going to check in with you. I'm going to check in with you in about a semester or so to see how that listening session went, and also to see whether or not there has been an active implementation, even if it's just an exercise like open town halls where the faculty, the staff, and the students get to audience with the president and his cabinet. I'm going to circle back. Okay, so Meladee, you're from Barbados. You
Yes.
gave us how you got to Oakwood University, and it doesn't sound as if any other university had their name on your heart based on the way you selected your institution. Now, you say that it's the institution that you were meant to pick all your life. You say that with such assuredness. Let me flip that on its head for 2 hot seconds. It's in
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, and I'm not saying Alabama isn't amazing. It is. But
Mm-hmm.
juxtapose, compare Alabama to Barbados for us for a hot second.
Mm-hmm. Um,
Mhm.
it's not the same.
She's so
Um,
diplomatic.
I often, when I first got to Alabama, when I first got to Huntsville, I did not recognize how difficult it would be for me to adjust to the fact that I cannot see the sea.
Hmm.
When I am at home, I can look through any window probably and see a glimpse maybe of the
Hmm.
sea, see a glimpse of the ocean. I can be driving on the highway and see, or I did not recognize how much it soothed me. So after I got to Oakwood, had a bit of a, I guess, a shock. See, I still had to deal with the seasons, so I dealt with a little bit of the cold, which I did not like. I do not fancy it at all. But it makes me appreciate being home a lot more. I'd say
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
Alabama is, it has it, and Huntsville especially is a developing city.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of activity, there's a lot going on. But I would definitely not, it's not Barbados. So yeah, but I would still say it's Oakwood was there. So that's where I knew I had to be pulled into. But yeah, I don't know if that's all of what the comparison is.
I love the couching of the differences between the two that you gave us. And I want to lean into that ever so slightly because I've never
Okay.
been to Barbados.
Mm-hmm.
So I do not know if the statement I'm about to make is something you're going to resonate with, but I'm going to make it anyway. And I want you to
Okay.
tell me whether or not you can resonate with it. So I was not raised in the United States of America. I was raised outside of the US, England, as well as different parts of Africa, actually.
Okay.
And when I came to Kentucky, Frankfort, Kentucky, to be exact, to go to college, was one of the first times that I realized that I was Black. I did not know I was Black until I came to the US. I'm curious, and both of us ended up at HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. So I'm curious what your experience was like with regards to a student who is not from the US, born and raised in Barbados, but comes to the United States of America at an HBCU. Did you experience understanding your Blackness in a totally different way that you maybe did not? And if you didn't, it's okay, but I'm curious.
I'd say yes. I came to a fresh understanding of my Blackness. blackness. I think when I was younger, I watched a movie called To Sir with Love, I think that was the name of it. And it was like, this is the story surrounding a black teacher in just a very tumultuous classroom situation. And I remember like this so vividly. I was watching it and I didn't understand what was happening. And I think I was at the age, maybe I was 9. And but after it, my parents like turned off the TV and everything. And after some time, asked us like what we thought about what we saw.
Hmm. Hmm.
I did not know that I was supposed to think differently about what I saw, because at that time, my parents told me afterwards that I said stuff like, "Oh, it's it's just normal. White people are rich, black people are poor." And hearing myself hear myself say that at such a young age, I'm like, I I never understood that that was part of a conditioning that happened. Now, while at home, there's a lot of classism.
Mm,
I would
mm.
never say that I experienced racism as much as I feel like, or as much as I feel like the targeting has been known. And then, obviously, at that time when we watched that movie and my parents were talking to us, I still didn't understand my blackness. I still didn't understand what the conditioning was. I didn't understand the divide. I didn't understand any of it. When I came here in 2021, it was obviously after all of the upheaval that happened in
Yeah.
2020
Yeah.
and which continued. I took an internship after my freshman year. And I think that was the first time I recognized that I was Black. Because coming to
Wow.
Oakwood, coming to an HBCU where my professors are Black, my president is Black, my classmates are Black, I felt comfortable. I didn't have to observe Blackness. Of course, it's something that I celebrated because I see it in my people. I see it all the time. It's comfortable to me. It's comforting to me. But I didn't recognize that it was something that was challenged. So I had an internship after my freshman year. And there I was having some interactions. It was a sales internship, and I was having some interactions with some consumers who were blatantly racist to myself and my other African American colleagues. And we raised that issue to our supervisors. Honestly, I think that may have been their first experience with racism. And that was shocking to me because they're older than I am. And so, us relaying things that were said to us with our interaction with consumers, it was like almost like a shock. And then they were remorseful. In those moments of interacting with consumers who thought that they needed to call the police, or that I was harassing them, or breaking the law by talking to them, I and then the hurt that I felt, the heaviness and hurt that I felt at that time, it was almost like I never recognized that my being Black was a problem. Like I explained, I did watch that movie when I was younger, and I did have that kind of premature conditioning
Yeah.
from that experience. But physically, personally experiencing the fact that I was viewed as an insignificant person, somebody that did not deserve to be heard, was harrowing. It was heartbreaking and honestly traumatizing. And I felt like after speaking about it with like people who have grown up in the United States, I felt behind.
Hmm.
I felt like
Hmm.
why did I not I it's multifaceted because on one hand I felt grateful that I didn't have to grow up with this inferior mindset. That although, like I said, I still had some conditioning in there because of media and all the things. But on the other hand, I felt like this probably should have been something I experienced a while ago and something I should know how to handle by now. I literally had to call my supervisor and remove myself from the situation. And I just cried. I felt like I feel too old to be this hurt by this. This should not be something that bothers me so much. I've been black my whole life. But then, like I said, I still felt blessed to have an understanding of how excellent I could be without the racism involved and attached. But it was a very traumatizing, I would say, for sure, coming to understand blackness in a way that I never had to before.
Melody, my silence is born out of how rich all of your comments have been because it's a personal experience. And there's an eloquence with which you speak. But I love your word choices. I just need you to know that. I love your word choices. I've written down a number of them that I hope people resonate with. You said that I've been black my whole life, yet I felt too old. You can't be more than 22 on your best day. And you said, yet I felt too old to be feeling like this and to be dealing with this, which speaks volumes, And I did not plan on asking you that question, by the way. It's because of the story you gave us from Barbados to Oakwood University that kind of just, Tosin, go there, ask her what that difference was like for her. And to hear the way you couched this is beyond cultural shock. This is more than that. Is enlightening, number one. Number two, I know you've heard it. And if you don't think you've heard it, after I say it, you're going to start seeing it and hearing it in different places. Different groups of people who say, why are we always talking about race? Why must it always be about race? And even I am just coming into an appreciation of, well, there's one group that's always going to wonder why it's always about race, because that group is not always on the receiving end of the negative treatment associated with race. And then there's always going to be this other group that's always going to wonder also, why must it always be about my race that I get treated that way? I also don't want to make it about race, but you treat me in such a way that I don't have a choice but to wonder, is it my race? Is that the common denominator that's bringing this on? So I feel it coming, so I'm going to say it. I hope at some point in time in the upcoming year, under your guidance, that a conversation like this happens at Oakwood University in a much bigger platform that allows many more melodies to actually discuss what that feels like, not to re-traumatize yourselves, but to get better handlings of it in the future, because that was very powerful. The fact that Meladee said, I've been black all my life. I'm going to be quoting this, just FYI, Miss Carter. I'm going to be quoting you because it resonates. I've been black all my life, yet I feel too old not to know how to handle something like this. Wow. Meladee, I think I'm going to say it for you just because I'm being selfish. But I think you have summed up in that other conversation. For those who ever wonder why historically Black colleges and universities are necessary, you just summed it up in the most visceral of ways.
Yes.
You just summed it up. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let the audience decide how they want to interpret how those two things connect. You for me, in the most visceral of ways, you just said, guys, mic drop. This is why. This is why we must exist. And this is why we have existed for as long as we've existed. There's so many things that Oakwood University gets right. You've shared it. The fact that they have you is one of the things they get right as well, just FYI. Because I must, and I always do this. What does Oakwood get wrong that you wish they got right? I hope people are watching. The deep breath she just took and the look to the skies that she just took. I hope people are not just listening, but they're watching, because her nonverbals are golden, just golden.
What does Oakwood get wrong? I would say we are, as a school, guided by a maxim God first. Yet, occasionally, things happen um, that don't help students, faculty, staff to feel as if God is being placed first. In my mind, if God is first and we are trying to be like Him, we should be keeping one another first and top priorities in our minds. And like I said before, treating people or ensuring that people feel valued would, to me, extend that God first principle. I'd say, in that respect, then, we may sometimes miss the mark in treating people as though we consider them to be God's special creation. People might go overlooked and underheard and underappreciated. Because of, I guess, because of my who I am, I can have like more candid conversations with professors, and it's sometimes, and students even, it's sometimes not a place where people are always feel valued or always feel like saying, oh, I'm from Oakwood or I represent Oakwood, because this place that I am proud to be a part of might not always treat me like they're proud to have me. So I'd say, in some respects, in that valuation, that treatment, I'd say that's sometimes where we can miss the mark slightly, and miss valuing people and miss extending that God first principle.
How we treat people is what I'm hearing, that we could do a better, Oakwood could do a better job in making people feel the value that it is claimed, and that they probably get right most of the time, if I'm not wrong. There we go.
Because
Okay.
I would not dispute the fact that Oakwood feels like family to me. When I am there, I feel like I am in a hug, I'm in a community. And so I know that we can get it right. But sometimes there are people who fall through the cracks and don't feel that appreciation, don't feel that support in the same way. So I'd say administration, faculty, staff, and students often miss the mark in terms of reaching out and making people feel valued, appreciated, respected, and loved.
So because Oakwood University students are going to hear this, right? And I'm going to hope that not just the students, but faculty, staff, and administration. And the thing about these types of statements is that when some people hear it, they get immediately defensive. So let me add just a little bit to it. That, sure, this is Meladee's response with regards to what Oakwood could get more right at times. But I will beg to say that it might be also what the world needs to get right. I have way too many examples to share with regards to whether, my statement is always, whether or not you are religious, whether or not you're spiritual, there is a human and humane approach to the way one should treat each other. And it should be on a philosophy of love. It really should.
Mhm.
And I don't see us in that space as much as we could be in that space within the last few years. There is a slight harshness or increased harshness that I see with regards to the way people treat each other. So it might just be that that's trickling down on Oakwood University as well, and not necessarily that that is just something unique to Oakwood University. That's just what I think based on my experience with humans in this world. Myself and the our outreach manager at I Love My HBCU question mark, we don't jokingly say that Earth is ghetto sometimes. And she's laughing. She is literally laughing like, oh my gosh, you're going to tell the world. Yes, I am telling the world that we say that sometimes because, and it's born out of what you just said, Melody. It is the lack of love that we don't always show and treat each other with. So I'm hoping that they hear your melodic voice more so than mine, that we could do a little bit better in making more people feel as if they're being hugged, even if they might not be physically hugged at the time. um I want you to finish the sentence for me. Cool, this isn't fair, Tosin. This isn't fair to Melody, especially after what she shared, but I'm still gonna ask you. um in 5 years I will.
In 5 years, let's list them. I will have graduated with a bachelor's of business administration from Oakwood University. In 5 years, I will have graduated with a master's in business administration. We will let life tell us where that will be from.
Okay,
In five
okay.
years, I will be continuing to walk in my purpose, continuing to
Hmm.
seek God about where He wants me to be. And in 5 years, I will have peace about where my 2 feet are standing and be comfortable there.
Melody, can I say that I love you? I just said it, even though I'm asking the question. I just said it. Um, so I get dinged. I somebody said, Tosin, stop. It's not fair. You're putting pressure. I also do believe that we must state what we want. And just because one asked you that question, I am grateful that you did not put yourself in boundaries based on that question. And you have asked for peace of mind with regards to the way you've responded to that question. So good for you, Melody. And I love the way you have responded, because your choice of words just keeps giving gems consistently. Melody, we're almost ending. I want to keep talking to you, and I'm going to find ways to do that, just FYI. Um, but is there something that you're like, oh my gosh, I wish he asked me this, or I wish we discussed it, that you want to leave our audience with before we say goodbye?
I always say that I will stand on every soapbox that I'm given to represent, continue, and represent mental health and people choosing life because there is more to it. A few years ago, I started wearing this semicolon pin every day to stand in solidarity with someone who's very close to me who struggles with suicide ideation every day. And in solidarity and in memory of those who have passed because of this illness. And I think that I want to continue to push it. I want to let somebody else know that there is value in continuing, there is value in the more. Reach out to somebody, touch their hand. Let them feel you cry. Let them feel your hurt. Let them empathize with you. Let them help you get to where you need to be. And I promise, I can promise that every day it will feel like it is too hard. But there is value in the more, in the beyond While it might not be clear, there is value in what is beyond this barrier that exists in the mind. So get the help that you need. Reach out to somebody. There is 988, that's the hotline for suicide prevention. Make sure that you have the resources that you will need in order that you might feel like continuing. And even if you don't, that you might choose to continue.
I said I loved you earlier on. The love just continues. Thanks for those words. Meladee Carter, leave our audience with one word or short phrase on why you love HBCUs.
I love HBCUs because I love us. And where we are celebrated is where we should be.
On that uplifting, inspirational, and ever so loving note, I thank everyone who has tuned in to listen to Meladee Carter, not Tosin, but Meladee Carter, HBCU Now of Oakwood University, 2024-2025 Miss Oakwood University, on this lovely podcast. I love my HBCU ? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. How could you not like this particular episode? Thanks to Meladee Carter. I hope that I have earned the pleasure of you subscribing to I Love My HBCU ? Wherever you watch on YouTube or listen to on your streaming platforms. Till next time, yours in HBCU love and Meladee Carter. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.